The mother is dead, and her estranged husband is behind bars, accused of shooting and killing her.
ABC 13's Sarah Weitzman spoke with her family about Rhonda Hairston's life and the heartbreak that they're now left with.
Rhonda Hairston's family tells me she was a devoted mother and sister, a woman they say was taken from them far too soon.
I don't even for real know what to feel. Hurt, broke, mad, anger. It's a lot.
Rhonda Hairston was just 39, a mother to two boys, Marte and Zay. Her brother, Casey Alcorn, says she was driven, bubbly, and studying to become a nurse.
She was an awesome mother. She was a go-getter. She was on a mission, and she took care of her boys. She loved her boys. She would put her life on the line for her boys.
Police say it was one of those sons who found her shot and killed in her bedroom.
My nephew found her in the bed, checking on her, cold.
The Henry County Sheriff's Office says her estranged husband, Joseph Lockett, pulled the trigger. He was on the run for 2 days before surrendering to authorities at a home on Niblett Drive Monday. Just a week earlier, Alcorn says Rhonda made the decision to finally leave him for good.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful person, man. And she was just on a mission, man. Her life got cut short, man, by a miserable, soft coward.
Deputies have not released a motive, but her brother believes Lockett was not happy that she cut things off. Now he's trying to stay strong for his family.
I'm stuck right now, for real, just stuck and empty. But I'm gonna keep going, though, for her, for my nephews, for my mom and my little sister, as much as I can, man.
Alcorn says that their family is accepting donations to cover funeral costs. To find that, go to the web version of this story at WSET.com. Just search Rhonda Hairston. In Henry County, Sarah Weitzman, ABC 13 News.
Lockett is being charged with first-degree murder, use of a firearm in the commission of a felony, and possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. He is set to be arraigned tomorrow morning in Henry County General District Court.
Police arrived at the house expecting a routine welfare check. Instead, they walked into a homicide scene. 39-year-old Rhonda Lockett had been shot inside her own bedroom. There were no signs of a break-in, no evidence that someone had forced their way into the home. Nothing suggested robbery, which meant one thing. Whoever did this was likely someone she knew. Investigators didn't take long to focus on one person, her estranged husband, Joseph Chad Lockett. By the end of that same day, authorities were warning the public that he should be considered armed and dangerous, and the timing made the situation even harder to process. Just 1 week earlier, Rhonda had made a decision that many people struggled to make. She decided to leave the marriage. So the question investigators had to answer was simple. What happened inside that house on Garrett Road? And how did a relationship that once began with hope end with a gunshot in a bedroom? In Ridgeway, Virginia, life normally moves at a quiet pace. It's the kind of community where neighbors recognize each other's cars and people still speak when they pass by on the street. That calm feeling was shaken on an October afternoon in 2025. Deputies from the Henry County Sheriff's Office were dispatched to a home on Garrett Road after receiving a call about a possible emergency. The call had come from a teenage boy who said his mother needed help. When deputies arrived, the boy met them outside. He appeared shaken. Inside the house, officers quickly realized this was not a medical emergency. In a back bedroom, they found Rhonda Hairston Lockett, unresponsive. She had been shot. Investigators soon confirmed that she had died from a single gunshot wound. The home itself didn't show signs of a violent struggle. There was no indication someone had forced their way in. That detail immediately shaped the direction of the investigation. Rhonda Hairston Lockett was 39 years old. She was known throughout the community as a hardworking mother who stayed focused on taking care of her family. She had grown up in Martinsville, Virginia, surrounded by relatives who stayed close and supported each other through life's challenges. Faith was an important part of that upbringing. Many Sundays were spent at Antioch Christian Church, where Rhonda sang in the choir. People who knew her during those years remember her voice carrying through the room and the way she seemed to genuinely enjoy those moments. Her personality made her easy to remember. She had a warm way of interacting with people and an energy that often lifted the mood of those around her. After graduating from Magna Vista High School in 2004, Rhonda focused on building a stable life. She worked different jobs over the years, but always kept her attention on what mattered most to her: her children. Rhonda was the mother of 2 sons, Omar and Xavian. Anyone who spent time around her knew that nearly everything she did was connected to their future. Friends described her as protective and determined when it came to raising them. She wanted them to grow up with opportunities and stability. By 2020, Rhonda had started working at Drake Extrusion, Incorporated. Co-workers there remember her as someone who stayed positive even during long shifts. She had a habit of making people laugh or sharing something funny during breaks. Those small interactions made her well-liked at work. Family members often described Rhonda as the person who helped keep everyone connected. When difficult moments happened in the family, she was usually the one checking in on people, calling to see how they were doing, or making sure no one felt alone. That role became even more important after the family lost their father in October of 2022. The loss affected everyone deeply, but Rhonda tried to stay strong for the people around her. To those who knew her best, she appeared to be someone moving forward with life while staying focused on her children, her job, and her family. Then, in April of 2021, another major chapter began. Rhonda married Joseph Chad Lockett. The wedding was modest but meaningful. Friends and relatives gathered to watch the couple exchange vows, hoping the marriage would bring a new season of happiness for both of them. Not long after the ceremony, the newlyweds traveled to Las Vegas for their honeymoon. Photos from that trip showed smiles and moments that looked like the beginning of a promising life together. From the outside, the relationship appeared normal, but over time, people close to Rhonda began noticing subtle changes. At first, the shifts in Rhonda's behavior were small. Family members noticed that she didn't speak about her marriage as openly as she once had. When the topic came up, she sometimes brushed it off or changed the subject. It wasn't dramatic, it wasn't obvious, but people who knew her well could tell something felt different. Relationships can be complicated, and those outside the home often see only a fraction of what is really happening. From the outside, the couple still appeared to be living a normal life, but inside the relationship, tension had begun to grow. According to family members, Joseph's behavior sometimes became unpredictable. His moods could change quickly, and arguments began happening more often. Rhonda tried to manage the situation the way many people do when a relationship begins to deteriorate. She attempted to keep things calm and avoid conflict whenever possible. For a while, she continued trying to make the marriage work. Leaving a relationship is rarely an easy decision, especially when there are families and futures involved. It takes time for someone to reach the point where they decide they cannot continue. For Rhonda, that realization came after years of trying to hold things together. Her brother, Casey Lorne, later explained that Rhonda had made a major decision shortly before the tragedy. She was going to leave the marriage. It wasn't a sudden reaction or an emotional outburst. According to those close to her, it was a decision she had thought about carefully. She wanted peace. She wanted a chance to move forward with her life and focus on raising her sons in a calmer environment. For Rhonda, the choice represented a new beginning. But for Joseph Lockett, investigators believe that decision may have been something he refused to accept. About a week after Rhonda made it clear she was leaving, events took a devastating turn. On October 18th, 2025, the quiet routine of Garrett Road was interrupted when deputies received that call for a welfare check. Inside the house, the scene was already unfolding into something far more serious than anyone initially expected. Officers began processing the home and collecting evidence. Detectives spoke with family members and neighbors while forensic teams examined the area where Rhonda had been found. Very early in the investigation, Joseph Lockett emerged as the primary suspect. He was Rhonda's estranged husband, and according to investigators, he had not been located since the shooting. Authorities quickly issued a warning to the public. Joseph Lockett was wanted for first-degree murder. Law enforcement agencies across the region began searching for him while investigators continued piecing together what had happened. As the story began circulating through the community, friends and relatives of Rhonda struggled to process the loss. Among the voices expressing grief was Rhonda's brother, Casey Lorne, who shared his feelings publicly. "My damn heart is crushed and broken over and over again. God knows I'd rather be in prison. My little sister Rhonda Lockett was a pure piece of love, and never did I question you. Damn it, I don't know what to feel. Thank you for always having my back and being there for me from day one. I love you forever. See you later, beautiful. Justice will be served one way or another." The message reflected the shock and heartbreak that many people in the community were feeling. For them, Rhonda wasn't just another name in a headline. She was someone they had known for years,
Newsroom right now. The man wanted in Henry County for the murder of his estranged wife is in custody. Deputies believe this man, Joseph Chad Lockett, is responsible for the shooting death of his wife, Rhonda Lockett. The sheriff's office says they found Rhonda unresponsive Saturday in her home. Deputies say he faces a first-degree murder charge.
While the community mourned, law enforcement continued their search for Joseph Lockett. Tips began coming in from residents who believed they might have seen him or knew where he could be. Investigators followed those leads while tracking phone data, reviewing surveillance footage, and coordinating with nearby jurisdictions. The search lasted 2 days. On the evening of October 20th, 2025, authorities finally located Joseph Lockett. He was found at a residence on Niblet Drive in Martinsville. Law enforcement surrounded the area and prepared for the possibility that the situation could become dangerous. Joseph Lockett was still considered armed. For a short period, a standoff developed as officers worked to bring the situation under control. Eventually, Joseph surrendered. He was taken into custody without further violence. Sheriff Wayne Davis later confirmed the arrest and explained that the investigation had been a coordinated effort involving multiple agencies and investigators who had spent the previous 2 days tracking down leads. Joseph Chad Lockett was charged with first-degree murder. Additional charges included the use of a firearm in the commission of a felony and possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. That last charge added another layer to the case. Because of his prior conviction, Lockett was legally prohibited from possessing a firearm at all. While the arrest brought a measure of relief to the community, it did little to ease the pain felt by Rhonda's family. At Drake Extrusion, where Rhonda had worked, co-workers began placing flowers and handwritten notes at her workstation. The small memorial reflected how much she had meant to the people who worked alongside her every day. Friends and family gathered around her mother, Linda Alorn, offering comfort and support during a time when words often fall short. On October 25th, members of the community came together to honor Rhonda's life. Balloons were released into the sky as people shared memories and prayers. The following day, a memorial service was held for her. The church filled with family members, friends, and neighbors who had come to remember the woman they described as kind, driven, and devoted to her children. Rhonda's brother later shared another message, this time reflecting a quieter moment of grief and faith. Heavenly Father, in Jesus' precious name, I come before you with a heavy heart. Lord, I ask for your comfort and strength as I grieve the loss of my beloved sister, Rhonda Hairston. Father, you know the pain and emptiness that loss brings, and I ask that you wrap me in your loving arms and give me peace that surpasses all understanding. Teach me, Lord, to keep moving forward with faith, honoring her memory through love, compassion, and purpose, in Jesus' mighty name. Amen. Investigators later confirmed that Rhonda's death resulted from a single gunshot wound at close range. There were no signs of robbery or forced entry, reinforcing the belief that the person responsible had been someone she knew and trusted. Authorities believe the conflict surrounding the end of the marriage played a significant role in the events that led to the shooting. Under Virginia law, first-degree murder involves an intentional and premeditated act. Combined with the firearm charges, the case against Joseph Lockett carries the possibility of a lengthy prison sentence if he is convicted. For Rhonda's family, however, the legal process is only one part of the story. They continue to remember her not as a victim, but as the woman they loved, a mother who worked hard to give her sons stability, a sister who stayed connected with family even during difficult times, a daughter who tried to keep her family strong after the loss of their father. Friends still recall the small things that defined her personality, the laughter at work, the music she loved, the energy she brought into a room. For those who knew her, Rhonda Hairston Lockett's life cannot be reduced to the way it ended. Her story is also about resilience, family, and the courage it takes for someone to choose a different path when a relationship no longer brings peace. The legal process will continue in court, where the facts of the case will ultimately be examined in detail. But in Ridgeway and Martinsville, many people have already reached their own understanding of what was lost, and they continue to say her name, remembering the woman whose life ended far too soon. Thank you for watching this episode of Gridline Crimes. If you found this story interesting, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss a new case. Your support helps us continue bringing you real crime stories, detailed investigations, and gripping cases from around the world. Let me know your thoughts about this case in the comments below. And remember, the truth always leaves a trail. See you in the next episode of Gridline Crimes.